Broadcasting live from the Albay PIO News Center, providing you the most exclusive news update from all over the province. This is 12 o'clock Newsbreak. In the local scene, the provincial government of Albay joined the celebration of the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking 2024 held early this week. With the theme, "The Evidence is Clear, Invest in Prevention," Dr. Cedric Dipe, APSEMO head, and POC ADA coordinator give emphasis on investing on prevention rather than on response, which he deems necessary not only in times of disaster. The main purpose of the observance is nothing but protection of life, where PDEA, like other agencies, is doing their preventive and prevention activities. Prevention and preparedness, I think, is the best, Dipe said. Another story, Sangguniang Kabataan Federation President Honorable Matthew Gamboa communicated his message of commitment in the fight against the proliferation of illegal drugs in the province. The youth is one of the most vulnerable sectors in the community. That is why this activity is very relevant. Campaigning against illegal drugs is included in our youth development programs under peace building and security, he said. Gamboa, during the celebration of the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, emphasized on the active role of the youth in putting an end to one of the considered malady of the society, as earlier mentioned by Rodel Obina, Regional Intelligence Officer of the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, PDEA. Gamboa also said small steps are necessary for the total eradication of illegal drugs in the community. I will give my commitment to support this kind of activities and will craft more programs, projects, and activities to alleviate the drugs in our community, the official said. In the national scene, Harry Roque, former spokesperson to ex-President Duterte, will be called before a Senate panel on Wednesday to address his alleged connections to Lucky South 99, the illegal pogo raid that took place in Porac, Pampanga last month. PAGCOR CEO Alejandro Tanco testified during the Senate hearing that Roque contacted him in July 2023 to schedule a meeting which took place on July 26th. Tanco claimed that during the meeting, Roque helped a woman named Cassandra Lee Ong, whose business had reportedly been defrauded by a friend. Tanco explained that Roque was merely assisting Ong in paying PAGCOR the money her company owed, and that she was not under any pressure from him. The application for an internet gaming license from Lucky South 99 was received by PAGCOR in September of that year. Another story, the Reciprocal Access Agreement, RAA, between the Philippines and Japan is none of China's business, according to Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr. on Wednesday, following China's protests about the two nations' defense agreement. In an ambush interview, Teodoro stated, "It is an internal affair between Japan and the Philippines, so it is none of China's business. Otherwise, China would be interfering in both Japan and the Philippines' internal affairs." Recently, the Philippines and Japan signed the Resolute Anti-Aggression Treaty, RAA, which establishes the legal basis for the deployment of Japanese forces and equipment in the Philippines and vice versa. According to Lin Jian, a spokesman for China's Foreign Ministry of Foreign Affairs, collaboration between Manila and Tokyo should not threaten regional peace and stability, target any third party, or harm the interests of any third party. The pact permits enhanced military cooperation between the Philippines and Japan in combat training and disaster response, notwithstanding the two countries' long-standing maritime territorial disputes with China. In other news, according to Paul Chief George Garcia, he has granted the National Bureau of Investigation to complete authority to look into the charges. So he refuted rumors on Tuesday that linked him to reported or purported offshore accounts that received millions of pesos from an election provider. Garcia made this statement in response to Representative Rodante Marcoleta of Sagip Party List, who stated that deposits totaling approximately 120 million pesos had been made into 49 offshore bank accounts that were purportedly traceable to a Commission on Election official. The legislature made the assertion during a press conference on Tuesday, referencing unconfirmed reports that his office had received. According to these sources, Marcoleta stated the money transfers timeline aligned with the COMELEC's bid for the nation's voting machine supplier for the 2025 midterm elections. And in the news outside the country, celebrating its 75th anniversary, NATO has a new mission to stop Russian President Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine, where world leaders have traveled to Washington for the NATO summit. Along with focusing on supporting Ukraine, Biden welcomed NATO members to a summit in Washington on Tuesday that also served as a test for the struggling U.S. president's leadership abilities from both domestic and foreign allies. European leaders of the NATO are confronted with political unpredictability as France appeared paralyzed following victories for far-right and leftist parties, while German Chancellor Olaf Scholz's coalition has become weaker following a dismal performance in the elections to the European Parliament. And finally, in the news outside the country, the major city of the besieged Palestinian community, Gaza City, has been rocked by a strong offensive where the Israeli army dropped thousands of leaflets over Gaza City on Wednesday asking for all people to evacuate. The pamphlets were addressed to everyone in Gaza City, indicated the southward escape routes, and conveyed the dire warning that the city, which was formerly home to over 500,000 people, would remain a dangerous combat zone. The warning came after 3 orders for partial evacuation as Israeli troops engaged in the most intense action the city has seen in months against Hamas and the Islamic Jihad militants with the support of tanks and aircrafts. During one raid, the army claimed to have killed militants and discovered weapons inside UNRWA's long vacant Gaza City offices. Deadly strikes that have struck 4 schools in Gaza that have been used as shelters in the last 4 days have shocked the world. The increase in hostilities and displacement coincided with mediator Qatar's scheduled return to talks on Wednesday regarding a ceasefire and agreement to free hostages to bring an end to the war, which is now entering its 10th month. And that's all for the 12 o'clock news break, July 11, 2024. We'll be right back tomorrow for more news updates. And thanks to our 12 o'clock news break writer, LJ Lurejo. And on the technical side, Chad Bobis. And of course, our provincial information officer, Mary Luduca Castillo. And under the supervision of our governor, Ansel Grex Lagman, I am Greg Hallare. Thank you for subscribing.